Hey everybody, how's it going? My name is Leon from No More Lines. In this video, I'm going to show you how to do three very interesting things in Excel VBA. The first thing is I'm going to show you how to check a file within a file folder to see if it's present. Check to see if that folder is actually present. And also you'll be able to create a folder if it is not present. But also too, you'll be able to just create a file folder as long as the first parts of the file path itself are correct. So you're probably wondering uh, why this is so interesting. Well, the reason why is because one caveat in Excel VBA is that when you try to open up an Excel file or any file using VBA itself, if the file path is not present, Excel will actually throw a debug error. And using these tools will actually help you be able to do a little bit of error handling and also some error checks. I use this in a couple examples. Like for example, I actually created a process where I I do logs where I basically run a subroutine and the file will save out a folder, a file within a folder that tells me that it actually finished. And then what I do is that I basically look through a file folder to see if those particular files were done, and that's the way I know that it actually finished. So it does have some pretty interesting implications. And how I built this, it's pretty straightforward. You can actually turn these into functions and make them a little bit easier, or even make them subroutines to where they actually accept parameters. So that way you can basically use these over and over again. Um, I'm gonna actually probably add that to this the module so that way you'll be able to actually see it. But for now, I'm just gonna show you how to go and perform those three things I mentioned earlier. So the first thing I want to show you is that I made two public constants. The first one's going to be a test file, which is going to be my test file within my desktop folder called test folder. It's a PDF file. Next one's going to be my test folder itself, which is going to be a folder within the test folder called test folder nested. And basically, I'm going to run through and I'm going to show you how these subroutines work. Uh, so something I want to bring up, you're probably looking at it and you're saying there's a section called debug print. Well, the interesting thing about that is that whenever you use debug print, it actually will take the results or whatever you're actually putting. So basically anything after debug print, it's going to put the results down here in the immediate window. Uh, this is great if you're trying to do error handling or you're trying to actually see if certain things are running. And what it does is that it actually saves it out and it makes it really easy to see without you having to do message boxes or even status bars. Just makes it really easy to actually see everything. All right, so my first subroutine is going to be called DIR check, and you can call it whatever you want to call it, but I just call mine DIR check. And then from here, it's going to be an if statement saying if dir test file, which is the top here, is equal to blank, then I want to do a debug print. So basically, it's going to be dir and then the actual full path. Now make sure that it does have the file name itself and the file extension. That those things are very important. So basically, if it's saying that basically if the dir is blank, then it means that it's not there. If it's not, then it means that it actually is present. So I'm going to run through this and I'm going to show you. So you see here that it's saying that basically that the actual test file.pdf was found. And you see here that in this folder, I'm just opening it up as an example. You see that test file is actually present. All right. So what happens if I change the file name? Well, in essence, it's not going to find that file this time because the file path itself, which is basically the file name at the end, is different. So when I run it again, it's going to now tell me that that test file is not present anymore. because now it's test file 1234 instead of test file. So it does actually change. And one other thing is that it does matter if the file extension is different. Basically, it takes that as uh, the string itself is literal, which means that it's going to look for the entire thing. It's almost like if you're taking that particular test file string and you're putting it into the Window Explorer, it's going to basically look it up and open it up that way. It's kind of doing the same thing. So the next part is going to be where I'm going to be doing the same thing, but in this case, I'm going to be looking for a folder itself and not an actual file. Now, again, the importance of this is that maybe you're trying to run a process where you're looking to make sure that something got ran. Maybe the first step is where it creates a folder or a folder gets saved out. This kind of makes sure that a folder is actually there to make sure that you're not going into the wrong folder. So I'm going to run this one. Works the same way. The only difference here is that the dir is going to have a second parameter, and it's called VB directory. That's the only real difference, and that's because it's going to be looking for that folder itself. So that test folder, which is going to be test folder nested, it's going to be actually looking for that. So you see that here, it's saying that the on my desktop, the test folder and test folder nested is not a valid path or a valid directory. So you see here that it actually works that way, and again, it actually does the error handling within the immediate window. So I'm going to show you the last part where it shows you how to actually create the folder if it's not there. So in this case, I'm going to do dir test folder, but I actually need to make sure that VB directory is here to make sure that it actually works correctly. I actually tested it out without it, and it still worked, but I would just make sure that it's present to ensure that it actually looks for the folder itself instead of the file path, because if it's because otherwise it may actually error out. But I think it's really based on the fact that it has an extension or not. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this. So it's going to say that basically if that test folder is not present, then I want it to actually make the test folder. And to make it, it's going to be called mkdir. So it's mkdir and then whatever I set here as my test folder. Now, something that I want to just explain real quick, and actually I'm going to show it to you after I create this. So I'm going to go ahead and set this, and you see that it's saying that it's not present, then it's going to make that test folder. So you see here that now that test folder nested is actually present now. But I'm going to show you something. I'm using constants right now, but to set it to where constants are not used, you would just put the parameter in brackets. Not brackets, but parentheses, I mean. So I'm going to do the same thing, and I'm going to just call it B. And instead of test folder, I'm going to actually copy this entire path here, and I'm going to do it the same way, where it works the same way, and then basically it's going to do the same thing. But the only difference is that instead of me referencing a constant, it's going to actually base it on the string itself. It's just a little bit of a different way of doing it. Yeah, so hopefully you found this helpful. I'm going to leave this in the description box. What I'm going to do too is that I'm going to actually, at the bottom, I'm going to actually add a little bit more to it. I'm going to create a couple of subroutines, and I'm going to show you how to actually, I'm going to show you within the file how to actually set up the subroutines where they accept a parameter values instead of them doing them how they are now, because right now I have to base it upon the actual test folder. But how I'm going to show you is that basically you can put in any test folder or test file, and it'll basically update automatically. So yeah, hopefully the video was helpful. If you like the video, please be sure to like it. It helps me get more views and helps me grow the channel. Subscribe to the channel. I'm going to leave a copy of this workbook and a pinned comment. It's going to be an archive file, so you'll be able to use it. As long as you have Excel, uh, you'll be able to actually open it up. I don't think it's going to work with Office 365. At least the online version, it won't work, but it does work on the regular one. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section. And hey, thanks for watching.